Hello and welcome to Swipe. Coming up, smart specs, the technology that could restore sight. Wiki warning, we meet the man who created Wikipedia. iPhone 6 rumours, yes, more of them as we edge closer to a release date. And Street Fighter is back in this week's Games Review. On the Swipe team, we love it when tech finds ways to improve quality of life, which is why this week we've come to an event here in central London which is showcasing some of the latest technology for blind and partially sighted people. Some of this stuff is truly groundbreaking. I've been taking a look at some high-tech specs which could give back the gift of sight to many of Britain's 360,000 registered blind people. Heading out for a cup of tea is one of many tasks Ian doesn't find easy. He has a type of blindness causing severe tunnel vision and is getting worse. So the idea of a special pair of glasses that can maximise his remaining vision by highlighting items in front of him could be life-changing. Images on the laptop show us what Ian is seeing.
So I can see in front of me the table here with teacups.
Do you feel confident enough to pour a cup of tea?
I'll certainly have a go. Got the handle. And
fantastic.
Pouring.
A 3D camera inside the specs helps him to visually separate objects.
Everything's rather blocky, so it does make you look a little bit like a video game character from the 80s.
So what about facial expressions? What am I doing right now?
Oh, that's a rather attractive smile you've got, but it does, the computer does emphasise everything.
The glasses were created by researchers at Oxford University before a link-up with the Royal National Institute of Blind People. Those on the team say nothing like this prototype has ever been made before.
This is a 3D camera that projects infrared light and detects it with this little camera here on the side and produces a 3D map. This is actually a normal, regular camera that can help you flesh out details of objects. And then it's presented on the inside of these transparent screens. So you can look through as normal, but you can also see an enhanced overlay of nearby objects, allowing you to walk more successfully around them or see a face potentially much better.
Around 360,000 people in Britain are registered blind or partially sighted. The RNIB believes the new smart glasses could help as many as 150,000 of those, and worldwide, around 15 million people could benefit. The project has won £500,000 from the Google Impact Challenge, a competition to develop tech to transform lives. However, the team has a lot of work to do. At the moment, the glasses are pretty hefty. They're also quite expensive and the wearer has to carry around a connected laptop. But now, with the prize money, the team can work on developing smaller pairs, which you could see in shops by 2016 with a target price of around £300. Ian's looking forward to getting his own pair.
I think, I still obviously need to let people know that I've got issues and difficulties.
But the confidence and independence the glasses might bring won't be taken for granted. Do you want to just add a sugar lump?
Let's have a go.
Gemma Morris, Sky News. Well, joining me now is Neil Heslop, the Director of Solutions for the RNIB. Neil, you're actually registered blind yourself, so just give me a sense of how important technology is for you day to day.
It's massively important. It's an integral part of my life, just about in every aspect of things that I do.
And you've got some devices here that you use day to day. This is an electronic braille machine?
Yeah, what I've got here is just a standard iPhone 5 that's Bluetooth to a refreshable braille display. And what that lets me do is just use an iPhone as anyone else would. So
you're scrolling through the apps there?
That's right.
And that tells you exactly what you're hovering over. And then what about the bottom row here? Would that be how you would read when you get in the apps?
The apps are exactly as anyone else would use them. The only thing that the Braille does, it's just my vehicle to put information in and get information out. And if Braille's not convenient, then the iPhone has speech to let me do the same.
Okay, and are there more of these kind of devices cropping up as we move on now in terms of developments with smartphones and tablets?
Yeah, there's a massive proliferation of options, and one of the unintended consequences of what's gone on within technology is all sorts of things are becoming possible that would previously have been unthinkable.
Like what?
Well, the very fact that you can access the entirety of what's on the web. So, you know, if you were blind or partially sighted, your reading choices would be very limited to those materials that had been put in a format that you could read. By the virtue of the digital revolution, that whole world is opening up to you.
And now we've seen the smart glasses, they seem to be fantastic and life-changing for those who've used them. Where is technology for blind people going now?
I think there are 3 or 4 major technology developments that have huge implications. The smart glasses that you talked about, that's about augmented reality. That's taking information from your environments and presenting it in a way that you can make use of it. The access to content that we spoke about, the mainstreaming of speech and braille technology, all of these things are just becoming massively more accessible for people.
Brilliant. It's fascinating stuff. Neil Heslop, thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
You're watching Swipe. Coming up, will it, won't it, will it, won't it? Apple keeps us hanging. But first, who doesn't use Wikipedia? The online database gets about 21 billion hits per month and is mostly run by volunteers. So when the site's co-founder, Jimmy Wales, was in town this week, as if we weren't going to send Tom Cheshire to go and have a chat with him.
As his own page says, Jimmy Wales is an American internet entrepreneur, best known as the co-founder and promoter of the online non-profit encyclopedia Wikipedia.
We embody what can come from the right of freedom of expression. We have a huge community writing the largest encyclopedia in history.
If that freedom of expression rubs up against the right to privacy on online services like Gmail and Facebook, Wales has a simple reply: don't use them.
If people are concerned about that, they shouldn't use Gmail. There are thousands of email services out there, and if people really do care about Google scanning their emails to show them advertising, then they should not use it. It's as simple as that.
The European Court of Justice right to be forgotten ruling means Wikipedia has been asked to remove articles. This week, Wales announced the site would publish details of any such request.
The real issue with the European Court of Justice decision is that it mandates censorship of legally published newspaper articles, delinking them from Google, and it is a process that has been delegated to a private company. There's no transparency, there's no court process, there's no possibility of appeal, and there's no public oversight of the entire process. I think that's really problematic.
The debate is intensifying over who should control online information: big technology corporations or individuals.
People should be concerned about what information is out there online. They should respond to it. If there's something negative about you, I would say get a blog, write a blog post, refute the allegations.
Not everyone can blog though, and not everyone has Wales's profile. Individuals may have good reasons for making inaccurate or outdated information disappear. Tom Cheshire, Sky News.
You're watching Swipe. Coming up, how to catch a speeding comet. But first, Apple's rumour mill has gone into overdrive once again, with further reports added to the previous reports about the iPhone 6 and its potential release date. Will Sargent has been finding out what we can expect, reportedly.
It is meticulously designed, engineered and crafted.
Last time Apple brought out a new phone, we were told it was the most refined iPhone to date. But now, just 1 year on since the 5S and 5C launched, we could be getting an upgrade on the 9th of September. So what will the iPhone 6 offer?
We're going to get a whole new operating system that Apple has announced, which is an incremental improvement rather than a revolution, but still genuinely new. We're almost certainly going to get new screen sizes, which for Apple is going to be a huge shift. It's something that they've always resisted. And we're also going to get, I think, a genuinely new design, which will probably be a return to the curved corners of the older iPhones.
This is not a watered-down version of the internet.
When Apple released the original iPhone in 2007, the innovation was obvious. The smartphone was a relatively new concept, and apps were in their infancy. But today, the market's flooded, and users expect their phones to do much more than before.
We've got used to, if you like, all those revolutionary features that the iPhone introduced, and we've also got used to a market where the rate of innovation is frankly starting to slow. And so the chances of the new iPhone being a genuinely revolutionary thing are quite slim, I think.
Whoa.
Apple's software is hugely important to them. We already know iOS 8 will have HealthKit for monitoring your fitness and HomeKit for controlling connected devices via apps. But will a new phone with these features be enough to satisfy Apple's investors and customers?
The suggestion is that actually whatever it is that's going to revolutionize the market isn't going to be the iPhone 6, 7, 8, 9, whatever. It's going to be something like a smartwatch, maybe Google Glass, one of those wearable categories of technology. And what I think that means is that actually the anticipation for Apple is on what it does next rather than what it does with the iPhone.
Let's take a look at the brand new iPhone 5.
Apple product launches may not have the allure they once had, but expectation levels for the iPhone 6 are as high as ever. Will Sargent, Sky News.
You're watching Swipe. Coming up, we bring you up to date with all the latest tech news in brief. But first, a probe launched in 2004 to chase a comet billions of miles around space finally made contact with Earth this week after reaching its target. The European Space Agency's Rosetta will now follow the rock around the sun before deploying a lander. Thomas Moore's been finding out about the mission.
This is a model that's about half the size of the real thing. It's going to be dropped from the mothership. It'll send a harpoon down into the surface of the comet. Then it will deploy 3 sets of legs, which have got sort of crampons on the end to grab onto the surface of the comet. And it's covered with all sorts of instruments. It's got different cameras, and then inside there are a whole load of other gizmos that are going to measure different parts of the comet. If I carefully take this off, what you can see is some of the instruments that are inside. And if I open this little door here, I don't know whether you can see there's 2 silver sort of tank things. These are full of helium gas, and the instrument that's in there is the one that was built at the Open University with colleagues from over in Oxford as well. And so some of the material gets put down in a little funnel, and it comes into, through here, a series of ovens where it's heated up. So if you can imagine putting a piece of rock and ice in an oven, you're going to melt the ice, make some water, and that water will be squirted through a whole series of tubes, and the gas that's in the water as well will be measured, as well as the water. Now the thing about water is it's got a formula of H2O. Now the hydrogen comes in 2 flavours, if you like. One's called hydrogen and the other's called deuterium, which is a little bit heavier than ordinary hydrogen. Now the amount of deuterium there is relative to hydrogen is very telling about what's been happening to that water. And so what this our instrument is going to measure is how much deuterium there is relative to hydrogen. And we can compare that to the same measurements of deuterium against hydrogen in water on the Earth, so water in rivers and water in the sea and rainwater. And that is going to help us understand how much of the water that we have on the Earth has actually come from bodies like comets.
You're watching Swipe. Coming up, we take another trip into space in our Games Review. But first, here's a roundup of anything you might have missed this week. Russian hackers may have stolen 1.2 billion usernames and passwords in what could be the biggest ever data theft. US firm Hold Security says a cybervore gang stole information from 420,000 web and FTP sites. It claims the gang used a botnet, a network of infected computers controlled by a hacker to identify weaknesses in websites. Google has withdrawn a game called Bomb Gaza from its App Store after an angry backlash online. The game invites players to drop bombs and avoid killing civilians while dodging missiles from Hamas fighters. One user described it as disgusting and sick. More than 1,800 Palestinians and 64 Israeli soldiers have died since the conflict began in July. A gamer in the US is suing Sony for £3 million over the graphics in a PlayStation 4 shoot-'em-up. Douglas Lador says the firm's been deceptive with Killzone Shadow Fall because it doesn't run in the advertised HD 1080p when in multiplayer mode. Google has reported a man in Texas after spotting images of child abuse on his Gmail account. Its algorithms picked up John Henry Skillen allegedly emailing photos of a young girl to a friend. The tech giant then tipped off a child protection agency and police arrested him. Apple's been awarded a patent which could eventually see some of its devices being charged wirelessly. The technology is known as near-field magnetic resonance, where electricity is transmitted by a main unit and received by small pods in devices. The system would suit things that don't need much power, like keyboards. And a group of Australian students claim they've set a new electric car speed record. The SunSwift team averaged more than 60 miles an hour for 310 miles on just one battery charge. The old record was just 45 miles an hour. We've taken a pick and mix attitude in our games review this week. We've got street fighting, a trip to space, and a few puzzles. Here's Martin Robinson.
Ultra Street Fighter 4 it is one of pretty much infinite follow-ups to Street Fighter 4. It is what the game maker Capcom says is the last update, and so therefore the definitive version of what is pretty much the best fighting game there's been for the past 5-10 years. It's an update which is now available physically. With that you get 5 new characters to add to the already massive roster there is. And you also get various tweaks and updates. If you haven't played Street Fighter 4 before, it's a good place to start because you get everything. If you play Street Fighter 4 an awful lot, it's a definitive version. It's aimed also at people who play it like a sport. And so it's pretty much the ultimate Street Fighter 4 package. Elite Dangerous is a long-awaited follow-up to a favourite of many people. You may remember the original Elite if you're of a certain age. It was a classic in the 80s, one of the original open world games that kind of paved the way for Grand Theft Auto. For years and years and years people have been asking for a sequel. Various reasons mean it's not been possible. Now with the magic of crowdfunding, Ian Bell and Frontier Developments have managed to do Elite Dangerous. It's not actually properly out right now, but it is an open beta, which you can access for the princely sum of £50. If you've been waiting this long for Elite, it's probably quite worth the investment because it's pretty much everything everyone would hope for from modern Elite. It's got the open-ended exploration, it's got the vast space around you which you expect from the series, and it's very much a very well-produced update of the original Elite. Road Not Taken is an interesting one. It's currently available now on PC, Mac, with PlayStation 4 versions to follow soon. It is a puzzle game, but a very strange puzzle game. It kind of combines elements of traditional roguelikes like Spelunky with match-free games like Columns or puzzle games like Tetris, except it's a very melancholy game, so you can think of it as like a very sad Tetris. It's a lot of fun, it's quite obtuse, but if you're looking something for a little bit different, it's the ideal thing to get, and if you're on PlayStation Plus, it's free as well, so there's no reason not to play it.
Whatever your friend did to get on the other side of these, let's just say she's not having a good day.
Bayonetta 2 is a sequel to probably one of the craziest games of the last 10 years. The original Bayonetta by Platinum Games featured a half-witch who devours angels with her haircut. If that sounds crazy, it's even crazier in practice. Bayonetta 2 is somehow even more insane.
You can go another round, can't you?
It's exclusive to Nintendo's Wii U platform. It has all the action of the original, a new haircut for Bayonetta, which is the kind of thing I get very excited about. And yeah, it's probably one of the finest action games there's been in years, and so it carries on the heritage of Bayonetta admirably.
Thanks, Martin. That's it for this week. Don't forget you can catch up with all the breaking tech stories all week on Sky News for iPad, our smartphone apps, and skynews.com. I'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.